It's a cold, dark October night, and what better time to get started on sewing spring projects?
Hello! Hi! Welcome.
Thank you.
I have a fantastically skilled colleague, Claire, who I went to university with. She's gone on to do some incredible work in reconstructing historical Chinese dress, and I thought it could be fun to invite her into the studio so that we could have a little peek over her shoulder as she puts her incredible knowledge into practice. Claire will be working on a 1930s qipao, a woman's dress hugely popular from 1920s China all the way up to today. Although a relatively modern garment, Chinese tailors used a combination of traditional Chinese sewing techniques combined with Western tailoring techniques that got introduced around this time, many of which were so practical I can't wait to experiment with them in my own practice.
Oh, is that a real one?
It's a real one, yeah.
Wow!
We can start to think about the garment pattern, which Claire is about to show me on a real 1930s qipao, is ingeniously simple.
So it's basically a T-shaped garment.
Right.
It's all cut from one piece of fabric, except the inner placket.
Huh.
So this is the Jiàng, it's the front placket, and then the Dijing. So this is just so that your skin doesn't get exposed. So it's basically a very long strip of fabric
Huh.
that you fold along the shoulder seam.
Yeah.
And then you cut it here, and then you piece like this one bit down here.
Yeah.
And that's the whole garment. There is no dart, nothing on the bust, nothing underneath the sleeves
Yeah.
or around the arm's eye. There's no waist dart either.
It's all just done with cutting.
It's all just done with cutting.
Wow.
What you do is just you fold it along the center front and center back. Then you fold it like that again. This will then be the shoulder. This is the collar, and then you just draw the pattern straight onto it. This is the front placket bit. Draw the rest of the garment, cut the 4 pieces together, cut it out here, just on the top. Then you flip it around. You just cut a hole here for the collar, and then it's basically the dress done. The issue is that it needs to have like a facing. If you're gonna piece another fabric into it, then there will be a seam allowance that you need to trim away.
Right.
And then there will be like a 1 centimeter gap between the two. Because it's cut in one piece of fabric, there's no way to work around that except for kind of reshaping the fabric a bit. So what people did back in the days was that before they draw anything, they would pull the top layer out from the shoulder and then slightly change the center front seam.
Oh.
And then when they draw this, and then because I pull the fabric down in the middle, I can cover it up by lifting the fabric up. So there's a bit of a overlap in between. So once you put in the seam allowance would be like here. But then it can still be covered.
Right.
By top fabric. The only thing with this is then the fabric would be slightly tilted, which is why if you look at this, if you look at the shoulder, it's not on the straight grain.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
Historical silks, however, often tended to be woven on very narrow looms, and Claire's vintage kimono fabric is no exception.
Because this fabric is really narrow, I have to piece it together along the center front and center back seam.
Okay. Piecing is period.
Piecing is period.
Stunning.
It matches here.
Yeah. Okay.
Success!
That bodes well.
Yes.
So before she can get started cutting out, the fabric first has to be stitched together lengthwise. And as I only happen to have a, by this 1930s period, rather outdated treadle sewing machine in the studio, we first have to introduce Claire to this very antiquated stitching technique.
There you go. Nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there you go.
So cool.
Yeah.
Don't panic. That's a seam.
That's a seam.
That's a seam.
Oh my gosh. It matched.
Oh, success.
Okay.
Success. Stunning.
Before we can get started with construction, we first have to make a couple of preparations. The first being a very large ironing table, wide enough to fit entire widths of fabric to shape the garment.
Ah, yes, 153.
Nice. Cool. That's just enough.
One more additional preparation step, treating some fabric that will soon be made up into decorative binding with homemade starch.
In the end, it will look something like this.
Oh, wow, it's like a glue.
Yeah, it's basically a glue.
Wow,
Yeah, so
okay.
We call it Jiàng, which is actually the same word as glue in Chinese. Closest probably starch, but it's not starch. But yeah, it's really simple to make. It's just flour, like plain flour that you use to make pancake, and then mix it with boiling water. So we need about 3 spoonfuls. Well, I say 3 spoonfuls, I'm like topping it up. Yeah, I just dump the water in. The first time I did it, it was actually quite tiring. I had no idea how much manual labor goes into this.
It looks really tasty. It looks like dough.
I know, right? It's basically making a dough. It is a dough.
Wow.
You just let it sit there for 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh,
Just
nice.
for the water to fully soak in, and then for the starch to get fully cooked, and then we'll go on to the next step.
Nice.
It looks a bit softer, but it's a bit grainy. You just need to stir it
Nice.
to make it more consistent. And you want to stir it in just one direction, just to keep it also consistent.
Oh my god, this is like Bake Off. Y'all didn't think you were signing up for Bake Off on this channel.
And we just pour the water in, and then wait for about a minute, and then dump it out, and then stir it again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
So gonna have to repeat it 5-6 times.
This is a whole process. Like, it's a whole, like, step.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's looking good. And
Cool.
the color is very bright and a bit like translucent, kind of.
So nice. So delicious. Time to make it crunchy.
Time to make it crunchy. I'm gonna use a very professional tool, which is the Gristides Diamond Value Club card.
What, you're saying that in 1930s China they were not using Gristides
I
cards?
know, shocking. It might have been open in the 1930s.
1888! It's historically accurate. Okay, we're
It
good.
is historically accurate. Okay. I'm using this historically accurate Gristides Diamond Value Club card
Wow.
to apply the paste onto the fabric. So yeah, I'm gonna get my hands dirty. I've tried it with palette knife. I've tried it with more expensive, more valuable credit card. Nothing works as well as Gristides card, I'm telling you. Going like that. And then you starch the fabric.
Wow.
So satisfying. So I'm gonna just do a few rows.
Oh my god, that is so satisfying.
I know, right? Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's still quite wet right now, but I'm gonna iron it later. Once it's ironed, it's gonna just be really stiff. It's gonna be like a piece of newspaper. It's done. So now it's just ironing, and because it's silk and because it's pancake, I need to put a piece of cloth on top of it so it doesn't actually cook the flour mix underneath and make it yellow.
So crunchy.
You can also do this, which is to soften up a bit.
Oh wow, yeah, that really does make it look a lot like
Slightly
softer. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And then the other side, it's still very shiny, charmeuse.
Wow.
So basically, I've got these two pieces of fabric. I'm making bias tape. I need to make the bias trimming all around the dress. So I need to make about 7.5 to 8 meters
Yeah.
for each color. So it's gonna be 2 centimeters wide with 0.5 centimeter on one side and 1 centimeter seam allowance on the other side. So I need 12 rows. That makes it 42 centimeters wide. This is 8 strips of bias tape.
Oh
So if
wow.
I fold it by half, fold it again,
Oh yeah,
and then
yeah,
fold it
yeah.
again, and then that's 8 perfectly even bias.
Oh yeah.
And now if you open it up, then there's this very clear line. Yeah, so I'm just
God.
folding it by half again. I have a very strong love-hate relationship with it.
Oh yeah. I
It's
bet.
so satisfying, but it's also so time-consuming.
Yeah. What is this creation?
This is marking the waterline,
Ooh.
which I'm gonna run it through my mouth, and then basically using my saliva to wet this seam here,
Ooh.
so it's easier to fold it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so this line is now wet. And I just press it down like that. And then final. And this will be a very crisp.
Wow. That's so cool.
Some people might find it gross, but I think it's okay. The next part is folding the bias, and it's gonna be 2 folds, so it's gonna be like that. 5 millimeters here, 1 centimeter here.
Ooh, okay, so a little offset.
A little offset, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm just gonna mark it with a very thick needle.
Wow, that's really effective.
Right, and because this is a needle and it like scrapes off a bit of the starch,
Yeah.
you can pretty much just fold it, and then it's already, there's a line.
Wow.
It's basically the same trick as marking a
Ah.
waterline. Put it here,
Oh, that's so cool.
and then this is like super easy to fold to place.
Wow, and it makes it so precise too.
Yeah. And you also get a very crisp edge here. I think it's the enzyme in your saliva that breaks down the
Oh.
starch here.
Oh
that,
my god.
It's just on that line, it becomes thinner.
Yeah.
And so when you fold it, it's crisper.
And it's just perfect.
Yeah, if you measure it, it's just perfectly
Wow.
2
Wow.
centimeters. What it's gonna end up looking like, the green will go on top. So it'll be 2 layers of bias.
Oh, that's gonna be stunning.
Very
Worth
excited.
all of the effort.
Now I just got, 16 more meters to go.
You can do it, I believe in you.
That'll be fine.
Roughly 2 weeks later, Claire has now completed all of the binding, and it's time to return to the actual body of the garment.
The fabric is folded in half lengthwise and then widthwise, so all 4 quarters of the dress are sandwiched into one.
The next step is to warp the fabric a bit to create that extra like overlapping space on the front of the dress. And I've marked this 1 centimeter line here, and I'm slowly trying to move the fabric up to that. So the whole piece is slightly
Right.
tilted. Just iron out the new shoulder seam. And that's the new shoulder seam.
Huzzah.
I'm basically just drawing the pattern on the fabric. You need to take so many measurements. 3 measurements around the neck, and then bust high, and then waistline, front waist, back waist, hip, like all of these places. The start of the placket is from the center of the collar, which is this point, and measuring down 8.1 centimeters, which is my neck height. And then this bit is half of my chest point distance, and also measured my bust measurement, which would make sure that the top of the placket falls at a nice place on the body. You want the placket to end like here. So
Right.
it's kind of like bust measurement going up to the point where it's right below the arm's eye. And that would more or less form a nice curve. So I can just freehand it. And yeah, that's the front bit done. Well, eventually I need to cut this open, but before that I'm just gonna freight check the edge so it doesn't just unwind itself.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm just getting a bit of the starch on both sides of the seam, but just like a couple millimeters of it.
The moment of truth.
Because we've maneuvered the fabric a bit earlier, now I can fold it along the shoulder seam underneath.
Right.
And if I fold it along that line,
Yeah.
then that will create an overlap. But it's still not enough here, because it's only like a 2 millimeter difference probably, which is why I now need to do something wild.
Oh.
So this bit is going to be trimmed away in the end. I'm just cutting it so I can pull the fabric over.
Wow. Okay.
To like create that overlap.
Yes. Okay.
But it's really to like force an overlap
Wow.
right there.
Just brute forcing it to make it
brute
work.
forcing it to make it work. That's how tailors did it back then.
Yes. Yield, historically accurate. Brute force. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and there's a bit more overlap here. I'm folding a variation of the bust dart.
Wow.
But I'm not sewing it together. It's just leaving room for the bust. There you go. That's the sleeve.
Wow.
This is the collar.
Oh!
Yeah, so all of these are
Wow.
gonna get trimmed away. And then just
There's-
need to like chew up the curves a bit. So it's not like a straight angle.
Yeah. That's a whole dress.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
I've cut out the whole piece. This is the sleeve. This is the xiaojing, which is like the part that goes underneath the front placket, which are gonna be on the inside of the garment, but the only use of this is to make sure that you don't like accidentally show your skin. And the next step would be this process called blocking. So what that does is that currently the side seam of the garment is very curved and the center seam is all straight. We don't want that because you want the side seam to be straight. So with blocking basically means using steam basically to like reshape the textile. So what I'm gonna do is use this really thick cotton thread to gather the fabric here so that it goes into a straight line instead of being curved.
Okay.
And then I'll push the excess fabric into the center seam.
The fabric is then warped according to which parts need more or less room, pushing out along the center line to incorporate room for the hips, and inward at the waist to reduce the amount of fabric that will cut in this area.
I'll just gather it a bit. And this is the hip curve, so most of the curve is on this end, so most of the gathering should be around here as well. And basically repeating the same thing for all 4 layers of fabric into more or less the same lengths. And then I'll just match up all the notches. Right now it's all like puckering out a bit, So I'll just take the iron.
You basically just shrink it down into there.
Yeah, basically shrinking the fiber down on the side seam.
Wow, that just like shrunk.
Yeah, and then all of these layers, they're more or less shrunk. Like there's a bit of a puckering still, but as long as there's no like pleat and stuff, that's fine.
Yeah, it'll just sort itself out.
It will sort itself out. Because
Right.
this bit is shrunken, but this bit is not. So this will be like where the hips would go.
Right, interesting.
Yeah.
So essentially, you're just doing all the work of the darts, but without the darts.
But without
You're
the
doing it
darts.
purely in the manipulation of the fabric itself.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
So this is something called 线条, which is like a really thin piece of cotton with a bit of glue. I'm just gonna iron it onto the seam to stabilize it.
Wow, it really just sticks.
Yeah. Then you kind of see like this is the side seam, this is the center front. So this would be the waist, then this bit would be room for the bust, that's waist, which is all flat, and then this bit would be the hips.
Wow, okay.
With the fabric blocked and the new edges stabilized, Claire can now safely begin basting together the side seams in preparation for a first fitting.
So this is just the last step before fitting. I'm just making the very quick version of a collar, and this is a piece of fusible interfacing.
Wow.
It's a standing collar.
Wow. Look at it. Ah, it's so cute.
It is cute. And then I need to put this on.
Huzzah.
Oh. More or less fits.
Nice.
It's a dress.
It's a dress. The length of it is just like perfect. Forbidden porridge.
Primary construction out of the way, Claire is by no means finished, because now it is time to add some decoration. Primarily this double layer bias binding, which Claire is first tacking together with the starch paste from earlier, which is sticky enough to act as a temporary glue.
This is the bias binding. Basically, I'm just gonna do it along the entire dress. And it's gonna layer up like that.
So the starch is used to just keep it in place while you sew it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's not like glued on.
No,
Yeah.
we still have some stitches on.
Okay, that makes sense.
You would think silk fabric is easy to pierce.
Oh, no. Oh my god, are you gonna have to do the whole length of this like this?
Yep.
Oh my
Just about 8 meters.
Oh my god.
Well, to be fair, I could do this with a machine. I just choose not to.
That's true. Wow, there we go. That looks gorgeous.
There's a special process for warping the fabric to track smoothly around the curved edges. And sometimes, this takes a little bit of patience.
That's a curve.
Wow.
Next time we meet, about 2 weeks later, Claire has at long last managed to wrestle the bias binding into place around the tight curve of the collar edge.
This is on the side seam. Yeah, sleeve, side seam.
Got it.
All the way down to
Wow.
the hem. And then it's literally like all around the garment. That's the hem, this is the other side. And this is the front opening, which I had to like turn it 45 degrees.
Right.
And then round it up
The
to
dreaded curves.
So the curve that I spent like 200 hours on.
Oh my god.
And then all around the collar.
Wow. Stunning.
So I just need to attach the collar here. Goes like that. So the way people did it in the past was that they made the collar detachable.
Oh,
So that when they need to wash it, they just wash the collar by hand and then they don't wash the garment. Because everything is starched, it's gonna be really hard to wash it and the shape is just gonna deform. This is like an extra piece of bias binding. So I'm just backstitching it onto the collar, like really close to the edge of the binding here. And then once it's done, we can just flip it and that would form the base of the collar.
Nice.
So when you turn it, it's gonna form a really nice crisp edge.
Almost there. Looks dangerous.
It's kind of dangerous. Need to iron this bit out, but
Wow.
One more bit of preparation before the whole thing comes together, the buttons.
Wow. Yeah. These are stunning.
The Qipao is renowned for sporting elaborately knotted buttons made from thin strips of bias cord, which of course Claire is about to make up yards and yards worth by hand.
Wow.
is she tiny? Right, making the button.
You can do it, I believe in you.
Don't jinx it.
Ooh. Oh, there's a trick to Whoa!
Not yet.
Oh my god! Wow! That was, I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. Oh, it is a little basket. Oh my god.
But also a pretzel.
Also a pretzel. Oh my god. Oh my god, that is so cool!
It's coming together. Basically just doing this over and over again until it's tiny.
Oh my god, that is so cool.
Buttons is a very good reference to see the quality of a qipao, because modern day qipao usually just have giant buttons that are mass produced. But if you look at the vintage ones, they're all really small.
Wow. Like the more time you spend, the smaller they get.
The more expensive it is.
Yeah. How many of these do you have to do?
Like 15.
Wow, and it is so little. And so round. According to the timing on the camera, it took you 10 minutes and 55 seconds.
Oh my god.
I love it. It's like a little cabbage. Oh, I love it.
As if 10 minutes and 55 seconds per button is not enough for Claire. There is yet another step to the completion of these buttons, and that is the addition of a little tiny pink sliver of additional bias decoration that goes in between the green.
Completely unnecessary.
Completely necessary! It looks so good!
The design for the dress is very spring themed, so it's like early spring when the flower is just blooming, so you see a bit of the pink flower, but it's mostly green, but like it will become blossoms very soon. So that's the design of the dress.
Wow, they're gonna look stunning.
This is like still a raw edge, so I need to finish it. And the first step is literally just to wrap it around so it doesn't fray. And then just opening it up from the middle. And then turn it back.
Wow. Oh, that is so fun.
I know, right? That's like a basic button.
Wow.
Now, just for the finishing touch, adding on the buttons.
I've traced where the button should go, so it's literally just sewing it right in the middle.
Wow. Those are stunning. The amount of work that went into a single one of those buttons alone is just astonishing.
I was surprised to see how simple the cutting and construction for this was, and only the tiniest scraps of fabric were cut off to waste, unlike most Western garments from this and previous periods, which are cut on extensive curves and generate comparatively huge amounts of scrap fabric. The curves in this qipao are worked into the structure of the fabric itself, and the primary construction consists of just the two side seams, resulting in such a close fit with really minimal waste or construction hours.
I thought it was going to be 2 months. It took us the entire 6 months to do it. It's all the binding and the buttons that make it a painfully long process. You saw how quick cutting and sewing together the dress was. If you go without binding, you can make the dress in 1 day. I don't think I ever want to make that wide of a binding again because it was such a pain. I say that, but I'm actually planning a project with a wider binding.
I've seen you wear it.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. I wore it to a couple different events, which was fun.
You can find more of Claire's work on her own channel and Instagram, both linked down below. And if you liked this video, you might also enjoy some more historical reconstruction projects, which we've put together in a playlist for you to peruse. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss on all the exciting new projects we have to come. See you anon!
Nope, there are too many cars. Bro, this is a side street. Oh my god, why are there so many? Yeah, just, you know, inhabit the space. Examine your surroundings, be glamorous. Go for a jog.